Hello and welcome to PC Attack. Today, it's just been requested by a few people, so I thought I'd just put it up for a video. My overclock speeds of my Titan X. Right here, as you can see, this is my EVGA Precision X that I've been using just to do my overclock. For BIOS overclock, if you guys want a video, I would shoot a video, show you how to do that. But as of right now, this is just a straight, quick, to the point overclock that I used. There's no need to go any higher for me. This satisfies, take care of all my needs. If I need more, of course, I will push it harder. But as of right now, this is as far as I pushed it. There's no need to go any higher. And I pretty much got more than satisfactory frame rates on the games that I've been playing. Just an FYI, this is a G-Sync 4K monitor that I'm gaming on, so, 60 frames per second is the max for G-Sync 4K as of right now. So, without further ado, let me just get into what it's set up as. My power target, as you can see, is at 104%. You can keep these two linked if you want to. Pretty much doesn't make any difference, especially because I have a hybrid cooler on here. It won't go any higher than I think around 55 degrees Celsius. It used to be lower, but over time it started to increase in its temperature. But as of right now, it's been pretty steady at around 55 degrees Celsius. 57 is the highest I've seen it spike to. It's been pretty consistent for months now, so I think that's pretty much it, and it's dependent on my fan curve. So if I give it, increase the fan speed, then of course my temperatures will lower. But for the way I have it, I don't want my computer to be too loud, so it's at an audible level of what I prefer it to be at. For you guys, if you want higher, you can go higher. There's nothing wrong with that. My GPU clock offset is plus 200. My memory clock offset is plus 80. And this is all I need. I'm very happy with this as my overclock. If you want to stick at 100%, don't want to overclock it, I think I was getting around 120, 130, and 80 was the highest I got, and that's without adjusting your power target. So let's go into my fan curve, because this has been requested. For my fan curve, as you can see, I did do a little bit of modification to my fan curve, but as of right now, I try to stay 1-to-1 ratio. I pulled it back some because over around my 57, 58 mark, it really doesn't matter, especially at 60 degrees. My CPU does not go, I'm still thinking CPU because I'm looking at Cinebench. My GPU does not go that hot at all. So because of that, because of the hybrid cooler, when I'm at 50, I have it around right now, I think that's around 48. And when it hits around 60, I have it go to around 52, something like that. I had it a 1-to-1 ratio for 50 at 50 and 60 at 60. The reason why I adjusted it is because when I lowered my fan curve, I didn't notice any difference pretty much in my temperature, offset by like a 1 degree variant, somewhere around there. And then my fans were at an audible level where I started to hear it. Even though I nerfed my fans, I got the cable connected to pretty much have it go at half power, even if I put this at 100%. So the other reason was when my fans were spinning that fast, it started heating up my room too fast. I have an AC unit. It's central air in my house here. I have a fan in here, and it's a very powerful fan. And the heat that this was generating was overpowering my fan. So what I had to do recently was actually do a few more adjustments to stop it from pushing so much heat out, so it could it's like a ratio for me. If I'm pushing out, let's say it's 80 degrees or 85 degree temps out of here. If I turn the fan up higher, it's pushing it further. It's circulating more into my room. As it stayed down, I was able to offset it a little bit by the fan in my room. I just put my fan on medium settings, and it takes about, it starts to affect the temperature of my room, you know, instantly, of course, but it takes a longer period of time to heat my room up. It gives my AC time to cut itself back on because my AC is set to my house. So I had to do this adjustments because at the speed that it was blowing out, it was offsetting the speed that my fan was trying to cool the air off in my room. And plus, of course, the other heat of my other components plus my body temperature. So everything just had to, like, you know, I had to get some kind of uniformity in my setup. And as of right now, with me having my curve this way, it works. It works for my room, my setup. That's it. For you guys out there, if you're overclocking, you know, and you're pushing it harder than I am, then of course do a 1-to-1 ratio, especially at that 50-degree mark. 1-to-1. That way it keeps your temperatures well under control. And it should help you guys out a lot. As I said, I've been testing this for a while, and this is what I came up with for my the memory on there. On the GPU, the memory is all set, everything's good to go. My only complaint is that it's using the fan that originally came with the GPU, and it's not being water cooled with the hybrid cooler. That's my only complaint with the setup. I have to keep that fan on. But at this curve, even that fan is barely audible. And that's all I wanted was a quiet system. Everything in the system is set low, and it keeps, you know, especially if I turn my speakers on the lowest or second to lowest possible volume for my sound system, I won't hear my computer. It pretty much just drowns out. That's how quiet it is in my computer. And my temperature stays under control, especially for my CPU. I have my setup so my CPU stays around 50 to 53 degrees Celsius under full load, and that's going for about an hour. Idle, I get somewhere around 27 degrees Celsius on my CPU. It may be a little bit higher than the 53 degrees Celsius. I haven't recently looked at my temps, which I am going to do, but I think it's around 53, 54. If it's at 60, I'm going to actually have to readjust my fan curve for my CPU because I don't want my CPU getting that hot. The whole reason for water cooling was to keep it at that 50-degree range. But inside my case, no matter what, it's always cool because I have a push-pull configuration on my GPU and on my CPU. And it keeps everything cool, especially my CPU. And that's the weirdest thing. Under full load, even though the fan is blowing inside my case, the reason why I have it blowing in is because my rear fan is actually blowing the air out. So it's just the way I wanted the circulation to work, and it keeps everything, all my temperatures inside my case, you know, at a very, very, you know, cool temperature. So push-pull configuration inside of my case. Even my motherboard and everything stays around 40-some degrees Celsius. Sometimes it spikes to around 50 degrees Celsius, but when that happens, I could just increase my CPU fan or my front-facing fans or my fan that's inside my case, and I can offset that also. So this is the fan curve that I just started using. Once again, if this doesn't work for you, at around 50 degrees, start to go to 1-to-1 ratio. At 40 degrees, you can have it at 35. 35%, and then at 45 you can have it at 40. But when you go to 50, when it reaches 50 degrees, set it 50-50. If that doesn't work, if it's too loud, readjust that to fit your needs. As I said, past 60, it really doesn't even matter. My GPU never gets that high anyway, so this is just the way I like it. This is the way I have it set up. This is what works for me in my room setup. You always have to remember, always factor in your room, how big it is, how your fans for your GPU, what direction is it facing? Is it facing you? Is it facing your wall? Is it facing away from you? How far is your tower away from you? How far is that fan away from you? How hot is it making your room? How fast is it affecting your temperature inside your room to a level where you're actually feeling the difference? So you factor all that in. Of course, you should think about purchasing a fan or something like that. But, it's totally up to you guys. Because I want complete temperature control, if that's what you guys are looking for, I would hate to say do a custom loop for your GPU. What I'm about to do is I'm gonna probably do an exhaust setup here so that all my heat can exhaust out this room. I'm thinking of actually putting the fan on my wall and just running like a tube to like the back of my tower and just exhaust all the hot air out. You know, it's just a thought. Probably not going to do it because it sounds pretty crazy, and my wife probably would go crazy if I did it. But that's what I'm thinking of doing, just to put that under control. Just to let you guys see, this is pretty much where I leave it at most of the time, anyways. Right here, I leave it right here. Most games I don't need it, especially if you consider how many games I have for the PC. Most games I don't need it, so I leave it here. Leave it default. There's no need to overclock it anyways, so default it out. When I need the extra frame rate, I turn it on. When I'm actually recording, I turn it back on. But other than that, I don't need it. So this is pretty much what profile I keep it on. I keep it on default profile. And if you guys are making the profiles, make sure one is your default profile. You know, everything's, you know, stock settings. And then you can play with 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 0 for whatever purposes you want to use it for. So if you guys have any more questions, please leave in the comments below. You want to see a different video or a comparison video, comment below again. By the way, I still do have my 780 Ti, but it's in my wife's computer. You know, thumbs up. See you guys in my next video. Thank you guys.